You! I have been waiting for you this entire time! And now you're here. I'm here to get the disc. I got the disc! Yes! And I gotta run. I got the music disc! I got it! We got the lava chicken disc! Let's go! Yes! Let's go! We did it, lads! We did it! Hello everybody, my name is Shenko and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Series, episode 37. I hope you all are well. We are back here in the valley, ready to build once more, but before that, I owe you all a little bit of an explanation. See, when I recorded episode 36, I got back from the UK, and before I went over to the UK, I actually recorded a little bit of episode 37, but I've since haven't really recorded that much, so here's a little bit of a recap of what we've done so far. If you remember in the last episode, we built up our first keep up on the mountain, which was pretty cool, but the surrounding area was looking a little bit bare. So what I did was build a few buildings by the side. I spent one live stream expanding the wall and erecting 2 more towers, and I also added a few more trees outside the gatehouse. So what are we going to get on with today? Well, I'm glad you asked. We are going to do a lot more expansion here in our castle atop the mountain, and we're going to start right here. This is the stairway that leads all the way up to the courtyard right here. Now I have went through the tedious task of putting string on top of the coarse dirt so that no snow will form on top of it. But here's the thing, this being the courtyard isn't going to be enough if there aren't any more buildings surrounding it. What we're going to be doing is we're going to start with a building right here and a building right here so that we can surround and expand our castle up atop the mountain. So without further ado, let's go get some materials. Right, I'm going to need a shulker box of stone as per usual. I'm going to need a shulker box full of deep slate. I'm gonna need a shulker box full of tough. And so with our leather boots, we should have no problem of being atop powdered snow. Brilliant. Right, let's get on with building, shall we? Okay, so we established both these 2 buildings on the side. Now I know it is early days and they look a little bit wonky, but we'll take our time in establishing these 2 buildings right here, and hopefully we can come up with something pretty good. It's very simple, but nevertheless, it's a start. Right, let's get to work in refining all these builds. And so since I got back from the UK, I've just been mindlessly building. So we do have the 2 buildings right by the side of the pathway, and our first keep is right here. But I've since went on and added a few more buildings around to make this feel more like a courtyard. The courtyard's right here, we got a building right here, a building right there, and a building right here. Now in between episodes, I also did some interior to our first keep. Want to take a look? Let me show you. So the first keep kept its look from the last episode, but when you go in, yes, I do have some shulker boxes right here because I was building. You go in, here is the great hall of the first keep. Nice and cozy, nice and dark. And this chair in the middle right here is for the lord or the king of this kingdom. Does it suit me just fine? Kind of. Oh yeah, you can also see the banners right there. And there's also a hearth behind the chair so that we can light it up. If the winters get a little bit colder, we can light the hearth and the warmth from the fire will warm the entire room. Now going up the stairs right here will bring us all the way up to the second floor, which brings us to our meeting room. So the meeting room, just like the Great Hall, nice and dark. We also have a nice hearth to light up, and then this chair for me, for my council to have meetings. Pretty cool if you ask me. And now we take this stairway all the way up, and we get to the bedrooms. Now this, I'm still working on it, but we currently have one really nicely decorated bedroom. Here, one of the high nobles within this kingdom can sleep in here. There's a little cabinet for their items, a chest, and a nice little bed. Right now I'm using signs, but eventually when they add shelves to Minecraft, we might experiment with those. I am pretty excited for those. And of course, we have a nice little hearth to warm the room with. Now there are to be 2 more rooms right here, but I'm in the process of just getting them up, ready to go. And last but not least, we head up this ladder. It takes us to the roof where we can look upon the courtyard. Really nice. There's a hearth right here, and it'll give us some really nice views of the valley. Now to start this episode, we are going to get started on this elevated pathway right here. This wooden pathway wraps around from behind this archway right here. So you can come up, you can come down from here after you go through this archway. Now, if you paid attention, all the wooden elevated walkways around here are roofed, as you can see right there and right there. So, why not we start the episode by building up some of these roofs? Because, well, we don't want them covered in snow, and I'd like to remove some of these torches about. And this elevated walkway connects this building to that building. Now, I'm not too sure what these 2 buildings are going to be, but we'll get on with it as we go. Right, so we don't have much materials with us, so I'm going to grab one of these shulker boxes and go back to my storage room to grab all the wood that we need to build up the elevated platform roofs. Let's go. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, my inventory has been looking a little bit messy these days. I cannot wait for the copper golems to be here, because I heard they're pretty neat. Oh yeah, if you didn't notice, I upgraded my pickaxe and I upgraded my armor. As you can see, netherite boots, netherite leggings, and a netherite chestplate. Okay, now let's get to work on the canopy right here. Let's bring out our shulker box, and we can get started by first enter the door right here. And that looks good so far. Thing it's missing is a little bit of overhang. So we'll grab some of that, do that, do that, do that, do that, and do that. Perfect. Yeah, you know what? I'm happy with that. The pillars are looking a little bit bare for the moment, but I'll think of something to do with them. Right, let's continue on building these pathways. There are a few mobs underneath there. You know what? Give me a moment. I'm sorry, you all can't be here. I would just clean house a little. So it took a while, but we finally have the overpass designed and ready to go. Now, of course, it does look a little bit simple, but I'm sure I'll add more detail in the future. Now, how do we get up there? Great question. If you come behind this archway, you will find a stairway. The stairway will make you go up, and now you're on the wooden platform right above, overseeing the courtyard. Really nice. I really love this. We also have doors going into the buildings opposite on each side of the bridge, and we can easily traverse these two buildings from this overpass right here. Now, what's next? Well, I want to do a little bit more refining to the buildings around, because some of them I've added a bit of that detail with the basalt, polished basalt, and the coal ore. The rest is still a little bit plain, and I want to start adding a little bit more of that detail all around. Especially these two buildings right here, which are massive stone structures at the moment. However, I am not going to get on with that just yet, because I have yet to put a roof on both of these buildings. This one doesn't have a roof, and that one also doesn't have a roof. So I thought to myself, why not just get the roof done? Then we can move on to the texturing with the other blocks. I'm trying something a little bit different here. Is it going to make this building taller than it needs to be? Yes. Is it a problem for me? Maybe, in just the sheer volume. But hey, I think it will look pretty cool. And there we go. We have started work on making these buildings fit in more with the first keep right here, and this is starting to turn into a really nice looking courtyard. Now I've also started work on the roofs. This one on the right has the traditional stairway roof with the trim, just like these other two buildings here, but the one on the left, slightly taller, slightly more unique. That's why I added the double layer trim on each side. Looks pretty cool. Does look a bit plain, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. We can add chimneys there. Now what I want to work on next is the towers on both sides right here. I understand that that might be a little bit plain, especially with that still being stone, but we'll try and work something out for these two towers over here. I've still yet to decide on what to have as an interior here, but it'll come soon. I don't usually do interiors while recording. It's a bit of a problem sometimes when I can't think of a interior while I'm recording, because interiors is something that I do naturally. You know what? Maybe it doesn't have to be this dull. It could be a little bit better. in my opinion. Let's try this, shall we? Yep, I like that. I really like that. It gives a little bit of pop to the building on the right. Now I gotta work on the tower on that side over there. Not sure how that's gonna go, but hey, we'll wing it as best as we can. You know, there's always something finicky about roofs, and a lot of the time people really complain about what to do with them. And usually the best thing to do is to be in the creative server, you know, just try out some ideas here and there, and then narrow down a best one. Could we have done that? Absolutely, but we are no such people. Fortunately and unfortunately. Oh gosh. So it's been a while since we last updated, but the courtyard is currently looking really nice. I am loving how this is turning out so far, and it is looking really beautiful. Now that the two buildings on the side are better textured to fit in with the first keep, and also the towers, I have refined both of their domes, or their cone roof, whatever you want to call it. They look much better, and they fit in just nice with the other deep slate tile roofs here in the kingdom. Really nice looking. And I've also started a little bit on this little archway right here. You might have noticed that this currently leads to nowhere at the moment, but don't worry, I have plans of a stairway going all the way up this mountain, and something will be up on that hill leading up from the courtyard. And yes, I've been doing a little bit of terraforming. The land has been flattened a little bit here, and the stairway, I need to add 2 more bits of stairs down here to connect it up to the wooden walkway above. For now though, I actually want to get on with another building project, and that is going to be behind right here, behind the first keep. In between episodes, I've been doing a little bit of terraforming, and this piece of flat land lends itself really beautifully for this. I am planning to build a greenhouse up on the kingdom in the mountain. Now yes, it might be a little bit weird having a greenhouse up here, but then again, you can't really grow anything up in the snow. So a greenhouse is going to be really useful in helping us grow some of the plants if we want to be self-sustaining up here in the kingdom. And as you can see, I planned out this plot of land right here for the greenhouse. Now, I actually want to take a little bit of a track back to olden times to get some inspiration regarding the greenhouse. And the only way we can do that is to cross dimensions. Now, if you excuse me, I'll just grab my sword and... Oh, Alright, that worked pretty well. I guess the sword does have cross-dimensional properties. If you're unfamiliar about where we are currently in an old world of Mystica SMP, an SMP that I joined, I think about 2 years ago? Gosh, it's been so long. And this is what I have planned in mind, the greenhouse. Obviously, I built this early on, and it obviously looks really nice. Of course, we won't have the luxury of having all these beautiful fauna around the greenhouse itself, but we're going to be making some changes to the greenhouse up on top of the mountain regardless. First of all, because it's cold outside, we won't be having all this fauna draped down like this. And second of all, we won't be using wood as the structural base of the greenhouse because, well, we're up on the mountain, it's going to be cold, and wood isn't going to be that great of a material. That being said, we will have the interior. As such, we might not have bees around, or I might, I'm not too sure about that, but we will have these walkways. I have these in mind of all these walkways going about and growing all sorts of fauna around the greenhouse. Right then, so we have an idea. I guess it's time we head back then. Let's just grab my sword. Why does it look that way? Don't matter, I'm sure it'll be fine. That's not right. I shouldn't be here. I thought I was supposed to be back at the castle itself, but I guess I need to get better at that. Damn. That shouldn't be it. Oh, man. Well, I guess since I'm here, I might as well pick up some materials if I need to. We do have a shulker box of tuff, but I do believe we already have quite a lot of tuff back home. Oh, right. We need glass. Now, I do have this, which is an emergency stash of orange stained glass because I originally had other plans for the star in the middle of the floating structure here on the island. But can you recolor dyed glass? I think I have the resource pack. Let's try that. Oh. Oh, we can. Oh, that changes everything. And there we go, we have a shulker box full of light grey stained glass. I do hope that one shulker box should be enough. And if that isn't the case, I made a few more stacks of grey dye, which we can convert into light grey dye with all the bones that we have. Then that should be fine if we come across any more glass. And I might as well go through the nether tunnels if I want to reach back to my castle. And because we're in the nether going back to the lands, we might as well use our ice boat road to get all the way back. Our nether tunnel, which is still not finished, but we'll get work on to it and hopefully finish it down the line. Beautiful. Woohoo! Right, so I have all the materials. I have the place all labeled out. Right here, we have the glass and 2 more boxes of tuff. So we have the idea of the greenhouse. We have the land all planned out right here. We have the materials. Let's get to work then, shall we? Let's do this. The glass is going to go behind like this. In between the blocks. Like so. What if I go like this? Instead of it being 7, we at least have it be 5. So that we can have better structural supports in between like this. That could actually work. That could actually work. So I'm thinking it'd be like this. Where the stairs will go in as such. And then it'll come up like this. How'll this look? Not too bad. I do need to refine the edges a little bit more. Yeah, we'll do that first. So let's refine the edges a little bit more and then we can see how it looks like on a larger scale. That is starting to come together pretty well. I actually really like this. I think this is going to be pretty cool. Wow. This is going to look really, really cool. With the glass being in between these instead of being really large pieces of glass. Yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. I actually like where we're going with this so far. Alright, we'll do the first floor and then we'll see how everything turns out. That means a whole lot of cutting all the stone. Harsh, but it is what it is. Alright. Let's continue building then. So I took some time to work on the greenhouse, and thus far, this is what it's looking like. It is monumental. Is it a little too much for a greenhouse? Kind of, but hey, it looks pretty cool, and it fits in just nicely with the other buildings, being made out of mostly tuff. I could probably build a path right there, but as we come to the other side, this is the entrance to our greenhouse. And as you can see, it is still very much in progress. I've laid down all the glass panes on the wall right here, and I'm busy building up the roof. Now, I decided on the roof being a little bit shallow and having a two-tiered roof instead of just one tier. So what that means is that I have two roofs. One up there, which is propped up by this middle section, and the second one on both sides where it slopes down so all the snow can just slide all the way down. It doesn't collect up here, and it will leave the glass panes clear of any obstruction. So I got a bit more to go in building up the rest of the structure, but I would like to work on the interior. As you can see with all the scaffolding I have laid out right here, there's going to be a canopy up in this greenhouse, and I'm thinking I'm gonna use stripped dark oak logs. I want that roof design to settle a little bit before I can fully commit to the other side, so I'm gonna move on and work on the interior. You know what? That doesn't look too bad. I can definitely work with that. Right. Now all I gotta do is just build up the rest of the canopy and also finish the roof of the greenhouse. I gotta do that. Let's hope I don't run out of materials. Well, it definitely took a while, but after much time has passed, if I can even just jump up here, we now have the full look at the greenhouse. My goodness, does that look amazing. That looks grand, doesn't it? Even though it is mostly built out of tuff, I like how the shape turned out and it looks really nice. I really like how it turned out. Now let's head into the greenhouse. As you can see, I've already started with a bit of dirtification to the pathway leading into the greenhouse, as it's still not complete yet. I still need to get rid of this mound of snow in order to flatten out the land a little bit more. But as you walk your way in, it is a lot warmer in here, as demonstrated by this pond of water, which would assume, with the steam marks coming out of it, you would assume it to be fairly hot spring water. Now, the story that I have for this castle up on the hill is that there is hot spring water being pumped underneath the mountain, and that's what warms up all the castle. And it being here means it warms up the greenhouse right here. And so that's why I have these little boxes right here, so that we can plant some of the crops up on the mountain. Now, before we move on with a bit more interior work, let me just show you the upper level. As you can see, we have hanging signs as the railings, and the wooden platform covers the whole of the greenhouse right here. But we still have a lot more to do on the lower floor first. We first need to plant some crops down in these plant beds right here. Now, I have to go all the way down the mountain to grab the crops, so how about we go do that real quick. Let's get ourselves a hoe, and we also need a water bucket. Now let's get our hands a little bit green here. Grab some water from the hot springs. Now we only have 3 beetroot seeds, but that's fine. It will grow up anyways, and then we'll add some more to the bed right here. And already, it gives a little bit of pops of color. Very nice. Now I do have some more ideas that I want to implement outside of the greenhouse, but I'm gonna focus on the inside. And for now, I want to deal with that right there. The way those glass panes above are being held over by just sheer gravity, maybe not the best way to go forward with it. I think we could do better. We could definitely do better. Let's just grab a bit of tuff, a few tough stairs. Let's go test some things here and there. I mean, that's a start, but not the end game. But you know what? I'll keep this for now. Let's go work on something else and see if that would be much better than this. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. It depends whether I want more of these structures on top rather than maybe it needs to be a combination of the two. Yeah, maybe it needs to be a combination of the two. That could work, actually. Yeah, I think this can work. I think this is what we need to do. Alright. So we already sort of have an idea of what we need to do. Alright. Let's get it done. You know what? it looks much better. I like how it's actually supported instead of floating in mid-air. Now it actually makes sense why you have all these supports. Of course, some of these might look a little bit blank, but that's okay. I'll go through and detail them up a little bit here and there. Very nice. Last thing to do, establish a path. And there we go. Look at this. We have a very nice looking greenhouse right here. We do have a lot more details to put all around this place, but so far it is looking very nice and quite nice at night as well. So thus far, the greenhouse has been rather fruitful to us, no pun intended, and even at night, it does look amazing. What I have planned in the future is hopefully some more details and sub-block details all around the greenhouse. Hopefully some more plants, some more crops can be grown, and yeah, continue to fill this place up with more leaves and other stuff. It will look lovely, and it will be a nice little oasis from the cold outside on the mountain. Will you guys come to play? Let's see. Hello. Oh, you're just gonna walk away. Okay, fair enough. And taking a look at it from afar, it looks amazing. I love it. It fits in well with the other buildings up in the castle on the mountain. And honestly, this entire castle project is coming along really nicely. I really love it. Taking a walk into the courtyard, seeing what we have done thus far in this episode, everything looks stunning. Everything looks amazing, and it fits in well with what we're going for here, which is a nice snowy castle, a winter castle up in the mountains. So we honestly got on with a lot in this episode, building up these buildings behind us, making these special wooden walkways, and also working on the greenhouse right behind us over there. Next episode, I do intend on putting some interior into these buildings because right now they are a little bit empty, but don't worry, there will be interiors in all of these buildings. I have plans. I have plans for all these buildings having interiors and special decorated areas just like the first keep. Also in the next episode, maybe we'll work on something over here. There is this cherry grove biome right within the mountains itself, and while it does not snow, it at least rains, and we might turn it into something pretty cool. But as I walk out into the courtyard with it snowing out here, what do you think of the castle project we have up in the mountains? It is looking really nice. I hope you all are enjoying what we're building here so far. I have a lot of plans on what I'm going to be building up here on the mountain with this castle project, but more of that will have to come in the later videos, so I hope you stick around for those. Anyways, we ran out of time for this episode, so I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Minecraft Survival Series. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to follow along the journey with me. As always, my name is Shenko. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Take care of yourselves, be nice to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Later.